Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to the light of Kriya Sangha, our Sunday meditation as we join together to remember the light which is within each of us. It is such a joy to share this time with you. Let us begin with a meditation, turning inward and ascending upward. Focusing your attention at the sun center, the Agya chakra, a point between your eyes. Turn your head to the left and exhale twice. Bring your head back to the center. Now begin to watch your breath. Be aware of the mystery of the inhalation, the hold, and the exhalation. Inhaling and exhaling 3 times. And letting your body consciously relax. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadidam Astu Ma Virvishavai Om. May there be peace between us. May our communication be clear and joy-filled. O Great Spirit, saints and sages of all times, of all places, O ye pathmakers of old, most beloved Lord of life in all of thy names and all of thy forms, the past, the present, the future, most beloved beings who help us in all realms of existence, ancestors of our bloodlines, of our spiritual lines, of our marriage lines, of our friendship lines, all of those who have helped us in this life and in all incarnations. Namaste. May our path be cleared today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. 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 Namaste. Once upon a yogi time, in the ever-present now, a little girl was born to a good family, born in a good place, born at a good time. Very auspicious birth she had. And she was named Maya. Maya. Maya is the lila, the play of life, the fluctuations of life. She was a lovely child, and well loved in her family. Grandmama lived with mom and dad and brothers and sisters. Grandpapa also lived with the family. And the years went by. And every day, over all these years, Grandmama, Grandpapa, Mama, Papa would go into a special room in the house. Every morning, Papa would come home, Grandpapa would come home, they'd come home from work. They would go into this room in the house. The older children all went into the room in the house. One day, the morning of Maya's 7th birthday, she comes downstairs and Grandmama says, "Here," she gives her special clothes to wear. "Today you come to our family hall. This is our special meditation place. Today you are old enough to learn about this and old enough to come." Where am I going? Where am I going? I finally get to go into the secret room. Oh, the secret room. And off they go. Take their shoes off when they go in. And Maya looks at Grandmama and she says, "Where are we? Where are we going?" Perhaps we should talk before we go in. Come, sit on my lap. Sit down outside the door of the room. We are going to the hall of the freed desires, Maya. The hall, our family hall of the freed desires. Sounds pretty weird, the little girl thinking. Why would I want to free my desires, Grandma? I don't understand. Why would I want to do that? And what's in there? What's in this hall of the free desires? Well, Maya, you know that little doll that you wanted last week? That your mother said, no, you have to wait? That was a desire. You wanted the doll. You're waiting. The desire went into the hall of freed desires. Do you want that doll anymore, Maya? Not really. No. I wanted it last week, but it doesn't seem very important now. Aha. And the doll really went into that hall of freed desires, dear. Maya still doesn't quite understand. What's the point? The point is, whatever goes into this hall of freed desires has energy linked to it, spiritual energy linked to it. Aha. Grandma goes on to tell Maya that the whole family, from the time a child is 7 years old, they go into this hall every day, twice a day. The grandparents and the parents go in 3 times a day. And in this hall, they spiritually let go of their desires. They consciously let go of their desires, for they know that the desires are finite. They know that if they fill those desires, they grow again and again and again and again, and bigger and bigger and bigger, with more and more arms and more tentacles. Now, this is all right. It's all right, Grandma says to Maya. You can fill your desires. Life is wonderful. You can fill your desires. But no matter what you do, they never will fill the lack that you are trying to fill. All the different ice cream cones in the world, they don't fill the lack. All the different books in the world, they don't fill the lack. Although I'm still trying, they don't fill the lack. All the different cars in the world, the dresses in the world, the scarves in the world, the earrings in the world, they don't fill the lack. So Maya kind of I guess she understands. Okay, so you're saying to me, Grandma, that if I wait, that maybe the desire for the thing will go away, and then I can put the desire in the family hall of desires, and somehow I get wishes or wealth or something out of this hall. Kind of getting it. But now you're 7. The biggest desire that we put in that hall is our desire to control others. The biggest desire that our family lets go of every day, that we let go of as a group and individually every day, that we put into this sacred spiritual place, is our desire to control others. Not only the desire to control their behavior, the desire to control their speech, the desire to control their thinking. And letting go of these desires, then we are able again and again and again and again to control ourselves. Let go of our own desires. Let go of our own anger and emotionality that arises in the mind. And thus, having said that, Grandma takes Maya into the room and gives her a meditation space. And Maya can tell the space is different. The place is different. It feels light. It feels joy-filled. It feels peaceful. It's filled with Ananda. And then she's told that every desire that is let go of in this place transforms itself, transmutes itself into what is called Yoga City. What you and I, we should be seeking. Yoga City. The ability to transform the thoughts that rise in the mind, that fall in the mind, the emotions that rise in the mind, that fall in the mind, into something that is useful spiritually, into something that is full spiritually, into Ananda, 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 Ananda. And so, what is the lesson? What is the story? The story is this. You and I, we have desires. We have desires that rise in the mind, they fall in the mind. Our family has desires. They rise in the mind, they fall in the mind. Day comes, the desire rises. Day goes, the desire falls. Or maybe the desire sticks there. And, spiritually, it's absolutely fine to feel those desires. It's absolutely fine to feel the desires that your mind has. If you come into this life and you have the desire for name and fame, it's okay. You have a desire for wealth, that's okay. As long as what you're doing doesn't hurt others, whatever you wish to fill as your desires, go ahead, do it. In time, what happens is that the awareness says, oh, boy, I've got 3,000 books and I still go in the bookstore and want a book. It's never ending. Maybe this time I shouldn't buy a book, or I should buy it and give it away and then not buy one. What are your desires? Yeah, I obviously told you my desire by using the book example, but maybe the book is not a good example for you. Maybe there's something else in your life that you continually go after again and again and again and again. It's like the person who buys a brand new car and they're thrilled with the car until the new car smell wears off, 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, a month. And all of a sudden they start seeing the imperfections with the car and they want something new. They want something different. It's time for, here we go. I don't want this. So, some traditions say, stamp down the desire. It's not the yogic way of doing it. Desire has energy. It's karma. You can do a couple of things with it. You can say, okay, I'm going to fill this desire. I want to have that chocolate cake. I want to have that chocolate ice cream bar. I'm going to have that. I want to buy that book. I'm going to do that. Or you can say, I'm going to wait. Now, Maya, when she grew older, because of the beautiful training she had, she developed a sadhana practice, a spiritual practice. And throughout her life, as she grew into her womanhood, she would have periods of time where she would simply never buy anything that she desired at that moment. She'd sleep overnight. I still want it the next day. Maybe I'll go back. Or, this week the sadhana is I wait a week. I want it today. I see a pair of earrings. I want it today. A week later, do I still want it? Or has the gluiness, the karmic gluiness, has it evaporated so that I no longer want it? In this way, Maya took all of her unfulfilled desires and transformed them and transmuted them into freed desires. And those free desires become Yoga Siddhi. It's a very deep spiritual practice, but very simple. Anyone can do it. Any of you can do it. And we will, in a few moments, go to create a room, the hall of freed desires. Because when you free yourself of the small things, when you free yourself of the little desires, when you free yourself of what you think are easy, well, it's easy. My plate comes to the table and I can put a little bit of the carrot aside, and I can put a little bit of the fennel aside, and I can put a little bit of the broccoli aside and eat the rest of it. And then every once in a while you'll do that and you'll realize, as I did the other day, oh my gosh, I ate the fennel that I put aside. Oh dear. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't aware. I didn't need that last piece of fennel, but the desire was there for it. So go back, pick up again and again and again. And so we do the practice. You take it into your life in small, small ways. One small way is you begin by your food, your eating, your food intake. And every time you sit down to a meal, you take a part of what you're eating, your beautiful plate, and you take a small amount and you put it aside on the plate. Put it aside. You don't eat it. You offer it to all the beings that are in need of food. As somebody came to me not long ago and said, well, what do? I put it in the garbage can? And I said, wait a minute, you only use the word garbage because you're not using it anymore. That food, that little tiny bit of food that you're putting away, you offer it. There are plenty of other beings that are going to digest that and eat it. Trust me, it will go back into the earth. It will be eaten. It will be consumed. Not by you, by the others, by life of which you are a part. And so you take a small amount and you offer it. That's all. And it's very simple practice, but as I just said the other day, you can do the practice for years and years and years. And then one day you're sitting there and you're eating the fennel and it becomes you become unconscious that you've taken the bite from the part that you put away, you put aside. Immediately after doing that, one has to say, I need to awaken again. I need to reset again. Not say, oh, I did that. Oh, how terrible, how terrible. Just say, isn't that interesting? Okay, let me reset. Let me devote again more energy, more attention to what I put aside on the plate. Now, the second thing is You want to do something. You want your way. And now we're really talking about the mystical practices here. We've moved from what is a deep mystical practice of offering our prasad, our food, to a deep, deep practice. And that is to let go of your preference. Now, the mystical traditions, the Buddhist traditions, the yogic traditions talk about letting go of your biases and your prejudices, your preferences. But I'm suggesting that you approach this in a slightly different way. Just petite, just a small difference. And that you begin to observe from this higher place, this 18 inches above your head, begin to observe how your mind is functioning and how your preferences are appearing in your everyday life. Do you prefer that your morning tea is boiled a certain way? Do you prefer that it's steeped a certain way? Does your mind become irritated if the tea is steeped too long or too short? And do you prefer having quiet time? Do you prefer not having quiet time? You have to ask yourself these questions. What are your preferences as they appear in your everyday life? Their habit, but a lot of times the mind becomes irritated. Oh, I get to read, this used to be a big one, who reads the newspaper first? We don't have newspapers anymore in paper form, or very few people read them in paper form. But look at your morning, look at your interactions with the people in your life, your family, your work, and begin to observe your preferences, your desire. See, your preferences is only a desire for something to be a certain way. And watch how irritated your mind comes and becomes when somebody doesn't speak the way you want them to speak, or much, much, much more importantly, when somebody does not think the way you want them to think. They express an opinion different than yours. How irritated your mind will become. Immediately, one changes this, you change it, you have the capacity to change it, to say, oh, I see. I don't approve of what they're saying. I don't approve of what they're doing. Well, what does my approval have to do with anything? In fact, what is my approval? Oh. It's really nothing other than my desire to control another person, to control the world, to control the environment. One of my favorite expressions or statements, I guess, is it was a statement that was made by one of the royalty from the United Kingdom in the early mid 1800s, and she said, the only problem with these Americans is they want all the parts of their body to be warm or cool at the same time. Now, I don't know about you, but the first time I heard that, I thought, well, she's right. You know, if I'm standing in front of a fireplace, not every part of me is going to be equally warm or equally cool at the same time. Is that an unreasonable thing to want? It's not unreasonable, but it's a desire. And so throughout your whole life, you are filled with this great opportunity, great opportunities for sadhana, for spiritual discipline, to free you, to bring you freedom from the desires of your mind, to free the everyday mind from desiring, and to put those desires, transform them, transmute them into the hall of freed desires. And in that hall of free desires, from that hall of free desires comes your yoga city, your capacity to see life as it is, your capacity to change one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness. When you can change the anger, the fear, the dislike, the hatred. Maybe you don't say, I don't hate. Anger, dislike, upset. From down here up to here. Ananda, Ananda, Ananda. Peacefulness, tranquility, equanimity. When in an instant you can turn the scattered mind with all of the elephants, the scattered mind like a monkey in the cage with Saint Vitus having gotten stung by a wasp. It is said, the mind is like, turn that in. Ascend upward. That's the capacity you gain. It's so simple. The practices are so easy. They're so simple. And yet they are so potent. And you do not need to be worried about your ability. You have the ability. You do not need to feel that, oh, it's so hard. Oh, I can't do this. Or, oh, I have so much going on. I can't possibly do this. Or, oh, I don't feel well. I can't do this. Yeah, just take a breath. Yeah, you can do that. You can. Little increments, little drops. And in time, those tiny drops of water will fill the entire hall, will fill the entire room. I'm sure that many of you have been, whether in Japan or whatever country you're living in, you've been to a Japanese garden. And very common in Japanese gardens is a rock. And on top of the rock is a bamboo slide, a hollow bamboo slide. And it's like a balanced on a balance point, like a teeter-totter would be. And at the top, small driplets of water come down and fill the bamboo. And when the bamboo is full with water, it comes down, hits the rock, up again, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Water, up, down, up, down. And in time, a miracle happens. It's unbelievable. You see a little indentation in the rock, and then you see a bigger indentation in the rock, and then you see a bigger indentation in the rock. Year after year after year, decade after decade after decade, the water comes down. Now, this is a twofold example, two sides to it. Water is emotionality. Water is emotionality of the mind. Yeah, if I keep bringing emotionality down and 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 down, it's going to create a hole. That hole, I don't know, not such a good thing if it's emotionality. But if the bamboo is letting go of the emotionality of the mind, if the desires have this energy form to them that you are transforming and transmuting, then in time it will fill. The bowl will fill. The bowl will fill with the water, the elixir of life, the elixir of immortality, which is accessible to you through your practice. The elixir of immortality is your ability to remember. That's all it is. And I'll tell you, it's everything. It's everything. Your ability to remember yesterday, the day before yesterday, the day before yesterday, the day before yesterday. Oh, you can remember last year. You can remember 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Oh, I see. I can remember the last lifetime. Ah, I see. 7 lifetimes. I can remember. I can remember. It may be for you in the beginning nothing more than symbols, feeling states. Yes, this is familiar. This is very familiar, but you'll be able to remember. And the value of remembering is that you come back and you're coming back to the same thing over and over and over again until you find that which you're seeking. And so letting go of these desires, letting go of the desires that we have in our everyday mind, is a powerful way to free ourselves. From what? From the confining karma of your life, from the thoughts, the desires that confine you, that create an unhappiness in your life. For those of you that are more mystically inclined, I'm not quite sure why I feel I should say this today, but I will. If you look at the subtle anatomy of the body, the astral body, you will see that there are currents, the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sesamonic channel. The Ida is the female, the Pingala is the male, and Sesamana is the balanced state. Now, the Ida and Pingala move up and down the spine as a caduceus, and they cross at every chakric level. The Ida, the Pingala, and the Sesamonic channels come together as a river at the Ajna chakra, actually at the thousand petal lotus, the Ajna chakra, and above, and at the Saturn chakra. Desires throw you off. This way to Ida, this way to Pingala. What you are trying to do through your meditation and your practice is to come into a point of balance so that you can ascend upward in a point of balance. And this is what letting go of the desires does. If you are desiring to control the way somebody thinks, here you are, it's an emotional state. You're desiring to let go of the way that they behave, here it is, on Pingala. You want the world to be different than it is, there it is. Your energy moves immediately away from the center, off to the left. The ascension of the Kriya currents is a very harmonious, easy ascension. No problem with ascending, bringing the Kriya currents up to the sun center. However, if you're very emotional and you're throwing it off to the right and you're throwing it off to the left, that's not Kriya. It's not ascending up the spinal column. It is simply angular energy, emotions, emotional energy. And so what I have been trying to express this morning in the other language is to say to you, I'm going to try it one more way, is to say that every desire projects forth from the petals of one of the chakras. So say you have a desire for a philosophical matter. That desire projects forth from one of the petals of the Jupiter chakra, not from the chakra itself, not from the center, but from a petal of the chakra. Now, masculine and feminine, so it's either going to go to the left or it's going to go to the right. The only signs of the zodiac, the only chakra levels that are one, that don't have masculine and feminine, but that come together, are the sun and the moon. And often today they are spoken of as if they are separate, but mystically they are one. It is one chakra. It is not, you have the 5 chakras below, masculine and feminine, and then you have the single eye at the sun center. And the single eye energetically is the sun and the moon, one, not split. For some of you, that's an important thing to recognize. If we're speaking astrologically, this is for Pranananda, if we're speaking astrologically, Cancer, I feel, and Leo, I will, it's one. Not 2, but 1. It is to become a balanced state of consciousness. I feel is lunar. I will is solar. Bring them together in a state of balance. And you have the single eye. You have balanced self-conscious awareness. And so we ascend upward. You ascend upward. You ascend by letting go of these desires. And you can look at your life and say, oh, I will be freely admitting that one of the most, not the most, but certainly one of the joys of my relationship with my guru is we both loved bookstores. And so we would go to bookstores together. That's something that, we really liked to do in different places we were at. And it was very clear. We would, say hello when we got there, and we would go off, and an hour later come back with our books, and both have been totally engrossed in what we were doing. That desire principle was very strong in both of us, and I think still remains strong in both of us. And so he gave away his libraries 3 times. He kept building them back up again. I have a separate sadhana that I do with books now because of that constant desiring coming from one place. And you have to ask yourself, where is it coming from for you? What chakric level is it coming from for you? Are you an artist? Do you feel like you always have to do something at the Venus chakra? Are you a builder? Does it always Saturn that you have to do something at? That being said, keep it simple, keep it easy. All of those things really are not necessary for you to free yourself. Just simply look at the desires and remember always, you begin with yourself by letting go of specific desires that you have. Beginning with the physical because it's easiest. Moving to the mental, or to the verbal, and then moving to the mental. How many times do you have to tell people your opinions? You have to tell them your opinions because you want you have a desire that they know what you're thinking. Let go of that desire. And then let go of the desire to control how they think. And that is a much, much subtler desire. But as you proceed through your practice, through your life, and you do these things, you will be freed. And the blessing that you will get is without lack. You will fill, the blessing will fill you, and there will be no lack. And that's important. You cannot fill other desires because there becomes a lack. There's always a lack. But if I let go of desires, if I free myself from desires, I free myself, and there's no lack. It's all wholeness. And so with that, we will go into meditation and begin to build your sacred space, your sacred place where you can free the desires, where you can build the energy that will release at the Ajna chakra and pour down upon your spinal column and ease the karma, loosen the karma, free yourself from the confinement of the karma. You can do it. And I'll tell you something, a little bit every day, just a little bit. That's all it takes is a little bit. You don't have to moan and groan and make a big to-do about it. You don't have to change the whole world. Just change yourself. Tiny, eensy drop at a time, and you'll be able to sustain it. Namaste. Be happy. As we do this practice, find joy in it. Find joy in letting go of the desires. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, in your mind's eye, if you will, focus your attention at the sun center. Placing your hands upon your thighs, cupped upward of the Om Mudra, with the index finger and the thumb together, and the other three fingers facing towards the spinal column, the center. Turning your head to the left with a double exhalation. Bring your head back to the center and begin to watch the breath. Using the sipping breath, draw the energy from the limbs of the body to the trunk of the body. Again with the sipping breath from the trunk of the body to the spinal column. Third sipping breath, draw the energy from the base of the spine to the sun center. Move the energy out as a golden ball of light in front of you. And sweep that, expand that light, and sweep it around, moving left around your body, encasing the entire being in light. Do this 2 more times. Expand that golden light until you are comfortable within it. Focus your attention at the sun center. Holding it there, draw the energy from the base of the spine up to the sun center. And we're going to do this 3 times. Om Namo Ba Ka Ba. Again, drop to the base, holding still at the sun center. Om Namo Ba Ka Ba. And a 3rd time. Om Namo Ba Ka Ba. Take that energy from the sun center and move it out at a 45-degree angle, ascending as high as you are able of the house, of the city, of the continent, of the earth plane, as high as you are able until you reach the high place. And here, find a meditation place. In doing this, focus again your attention at the sun center, the Ajna chakra. Now this mantra will call upon Dhanvantrayananda, the celestial healer, and Vishvananda, the celestial architect. Vishvananda Yanamha, Vishvananda Yanamha, Vishvakarmananda Yamanaha, Vishvananda Yanamaha, Dhanvantrayananda Yanamaha, Dhanvantrayananda Yamanaha, Dhanvantrayananda Yanamaha. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Ji, Om Ji. Om Ji, 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 Om. In your high place, before you see your chosen form of the divine, your Ishtadevata, and see the great celestial healer, that being that helps to balance all of the difficult karmas of life. And Vishvananda, the celestial architect. This place, this sacred place, go forth with these beings to help you. See in front of you in the high place a grove. It is here that you can build, you will build the hall of free desires. Your hall of free desires. This space, this land, this place is perfect for you. In front of you, begin to build a building. You have all the help you need. Build a building that is beautiful to you. Your hall of free desires. The special place that you will go, the sacred space for you to free yourself. Draw the sign, if you will, to go over the door, so that as you build this in the astral, it's clear where you are returning to. Enter into this hall. As you cross the threshold, be aware of the light filling your hall. This space has magical, transformative properties, mystical properties. All of the desires that come here, that are left here, transform into your spiritual energy. They transform into Ananda. If you wish, create an altar or an offering container, place you can put your desires. For some, it is a great fire. For others, it's a basket or a goblet. It must be what you desire. At this moment, dedicate your hall, your building. Speak to all the powers that be. Name this place. Establish it strongly. As you have done so, begin to offer to let go of your desires. As a desire rises in the mind, offer it to the vessel, to the fire, to that which you have created to transform the desire. Let it heat. Om. Namaste Ganapataye. Tvameva Pratyat Pratyakshanthattvamasi Tvameva kevalam kartasi Tvameva sarvan kalavidam brahmasi Tum sak shatat masanityam Rutam vachame Satyam vachame Avidwam Avavoktaram Avashrotaram Avadhataram Avanucha Namavashisham Avapashtatat Avapurstat Avadokshatat Avachodwatat Avodratat Sarvatomam Pahi Pahi Samantat Tum Vinmayas Tum Chinmayahat Tum Anandamayas Tum Brahmamayat Tum Sachirananda Dvitiyosi Tum Pratyakshan Brahmasi Tum Annamayosi Annamayosi Saravan Jagiridan Twato Jayate Saravan Jagiridan Twatas Tishtati Saravan Jagiridan Twila Me Shati Tum Bhumira Pona Lo Nilo Namaha Tum Chatwari Vakpadani Tum Gunatrayati Tahatum Deyatrayati Tahatum Kalatrayati Tahatum Molar Harstityo Sinityam Tum Shaktitraya Makaha Tum Yogino Dianti Nityam Tum Brahma Tum Vishnu Tum Rudra Indrastum Agnistum Vayustum Suryastum Chandramastum Brahma Bhurbhupasvarom Ganadin Purvamucharya Varnadin Tananantaram Anaswaras Parataraha Ardhela Duyasicham Tarina Rodam Etatava Manaswarupam Akaro Purva Rupam Akaro Mariam Rupam Anaswaras Chancha Rupam Vindurutara Rupam Narasanam Sagihita Sandihi Saishaganesha Vidya Ganakarichihi Mitrur Gayatri Shanda Ganapatir Devata Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti 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 Arahit Om. Fill thy hall of free desires. Fill thy hall of freed desires. May it be filled with the desires that transform themselves into golden dewdrops of Ananda as you place them in this sacred hall, as you offer them to the sacred flame of Kriya, as you offer the desires to the light. Be thou filled, may thou see the light that thou art. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hold the name of your sacred place, the name of your hall, the name of your shrine. Fill it, vivify it, allow it to vivify your being. Return here again and again and again. Short times, 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Desire arises in the mind. Send it here. Allow it to be transformed. Be thou blessed. Be thou blessed. Be thou triply blessed. Allow the golden dewdrops of Ananda to pour forth upon thy crown center, filling every cell of thy being. Feel them pouring forth at this moment. Ananda, 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 da, da, da. Thou art blessed. Become an ever greater blessing to all of those who enter thy aura. And as always, I thank you. I thank you for your blessings, of your presence, of your spiritual enthusiasm, of your yoga city, of sharing that with us, on Sunday, of blessing us. Be happy. Fill yourself with joy. And thank you. Thank you for sharing, the beautiful meditation. Your presence does make a difference. Namaste. Namaskar.